Welcome to the edge of the world. In March 2025, I set out on an unforgettable wildlife adventure to one of the most remote and untamed places on Earth, the Antarctic Peninsula. For 11 nights, I lived aboard the Plancius with Oceanwide Expeditions, navigating a frozen frontier in search of extraordinary wildlife.
Like something out of Frozen Planet. Absolutely insane.
From waddling penguins and chilled out humpbacks to curious sheathbills, playful fur seals, and Antarctica's apex predators, Orca, and the notorious penguin-scoffing leopard seals. Every moment was wild.
Bird landed, here we go.
Raw and real. Join me as I dive into the rhythm of the southernmost wilderness. A land where ice speaks, nature rules, and the ordinary becomes unforgettable. This is the adventure of a lifetime.
Can't quite believe what I've watched, to be honest. That was truly breathtaking.
So, subscribe, grab your thermals, and let's head south.
So after quite a chaotic couple of days of delayed flights, cancelled flights, Heathrow, an international airport, being a complete shutdown after a fire, cheeky afternoon in a spa, and then after an amazing flight over Tierra del Fuego, I've arrived here in Ushuaia. The Plancius, she's moored up in the corner over there, ready to disembark this evening. But the wildlife here has been phenomenal. There's just birds right in your face. There's groups of imperial cormorants all sort of taking a break, having a preen, sorting themselves out. There's big flocks of dolphin gulls. They look quite sinister, but they've got quite a big, nice red beak. But my favourites have probably been the Chimango caracaras, loitering like naughty teenagers by the looks of things. But there's just been an abundance of waterfowl. I've got a pair of kelp geese hanging out down here. So that's the male on the right. He's the white one with the bright yellow legs, and the females there are the brown, which has got a really smart green bar, some black and white stripes on our underside, and some nice white tail feathers. And then there's been 4 giant petrels just hanging around. There they are. They're just sat there right behind me. So if this is a sign of things to come, I'm a very happy man. Here's home sweet home for the next 11 nights. It's looking awesome, but be a little bit honest, it's a little bit daunting, a little bit nervous, very, very excited. There's this little butterfly going around in my stomach. That might have been what I had for lunch.
Later that evening, the Plancius left Ushuaia and we spent the night sheltering from a storm in the Beagle Channel. And then, once we got to somewhere around here, this happened.
Day 2 of crossing the Drake Passage. It's pretty mad. The waves are pounding over the side of the boat. Currently feeling alright. Seasickness tablets are just knocking me out, so I'm about to have a little nap.
But after a day snoozing through the washing machine, the storm subsided and we started to make some progress through the Drake Passage on our crossing to the Antarctic Peninsula.
What a difference a day makes. It's much more enjoyable being out here on deck today, and we're actually allowed out on deck. A much calmer sea. There's still a fair bit of swell, but compared to yesterday, it feels like a mill pond. The waves were hitting about 10 metres yesterday and 45 plus 50-mile-an-hour winds. It was like being in a washing machine, but I didn't throw up, kept it all down. I did knock myself out with some seasickness tablets for a little bit, which was necessary. But today, much calmer, much nicer spotting conditions. I've had quite a few different albatross today. We've had black-browed albatross. They can reach speeds of about 110 kilometers an hour, and they've been zipping across the waves here around the Plancius. And what's amazing about these birds is that their heart rate when they're gliding and reaching these fast speeds is the same as when they're chilling out and sat down. They're so efficient at flying, using the thermals and using the uprises of the wind from the waves to cross the Southern Ocean. Is absolutely unbelievable. We've also had some great-headed albatross. Yesterday we had our first wanderer, which was stunning. That huge, impressive 3.5 meter wingspan gliding right across the boat and then headed out to sea. But I think the highlight for today has been my first light-mantled sooty albatross, a really stunning bird. Much different, got that nice little wedge-shaped tail and that distinctive white eye ring and that nice chocolatey colour, and it circled the boat a few times before disappearing across the horizon. So, 3 days on the Drake. The end is in sight. We should be reaching the South Shetlands at about 10 PM this evening. And I'm very excited to wake up surrounded, hopefully, by icebergs. It's definitely been a few days that I won't forget in a hurry. Boat actually went to a 40 to 42 degree angle yesterday as we were crossing through that storm. So the Drake Passage, named after the 16th century explorer Sir Francis Drake. He didn't even cross it though, he just got lost and drifted out into sea into it for a little bit, which must have been pretty scary. But it's the equivalent of crossing from London all the way to Berlin, and it's meant to take a few days, but due to the sea conditions and the wind, and the waves and the swell, it's taken us the best part of 3, but we're nearly there. We're nearly there. Good news, we've made it. We sailed past the South Shetland Islands last night at around midnight, cruised through the Boyd Sound, on our way down to Trinity Island, which is where we're heading this morning. It is heckin' windy, there's a bit of snow, lots of wind, but the sea is fairly calm. Just had a few Cape Petrels flying past, but the most exciting thing is we're starting to see our first iceberg. It's a little bit foggy, but there's a big expanse of land I can just see coming through the fog. It's like approaching Skull Island. Just heard the anchor chain go down. The expedition team are getting the Zodiacs ready to go do their first trip, check out where we're going to be landing, and at 9:30 it's our turn to get in the Zodiacs, join the team and head ashore. Can't quite believe that we're here. It's been a journey, but it's all about to be very, very worth it. It is pretty mind-boggling to be here, and it's cold. It's about 0 degrees, but there's a lot of like snow and sleet, quite a bit of wind. We go get some more layers on before heading out. Keep nice and warm. Well, this is something quite spectacular. We've landed at Michelson Harbour on Trinity Island, our first bit of land for 3.5 days. Cool, is it worth it? Surrounded by lots of different groups of Gentoo penguins. Some of them are just chilling out here, looking a little bit grumpy. Some are going through that catastrophic molt, shedding all of those feathers and getting their new ones after the busy breeding season. The landscapes here is just, you can't stop spinning around looking. The visibility slowly starting to clear up. There's giant petrels flying over, the divers are going in, nutters. But it's just remarkable, we've made it to one of the islands just off the Antarctic Peninsula. As we came ashore, we were welcomed by sheathbills, little evil snow chickens, yobby little things. I was very excited to see those. They're the only bird in the Antarctic that doesn't have webbed feet. There's 2 species. These are the pale-faced, you have the dark-faced ones as well. Proper scavengers, they'll eat pretty much anything they can get. Penguin chicks, penguin poo, any poo, penguin eggs, krill, you name it, they can get it, they'll eat it. This is remarkable.
After leaving Michelson Harbour, we had one of the most memorable afternoons of my life, and I'll tell you all about it in just a sec.
I can't quite believe what's happened today. The sun is shining, it's calm. The Drake Shake has been absolutely forgotten. We carried on further southwest along the peninsula down to this absolutely stunning Cierva Cove. There's glaciers all around. The sun is out, the colours on the ice, the blues, the whites, even the dark greys. But we've just got back from the most incredible 2 hours I think I've ever had watching wildlife. Not only was the scenery just out of this world, we had our first chinstrap penguins, Antarctic shags, but something that I've been wanting to see since I was about 5 years old, a leopard seal. And oh boy, did we see a leopard seal. It was eating a chinstrap penguin, absolutely launching it from side to side, just like something out of a wildlife documentary. Absolutely spellbinding. I can't quite believe that I watched that. Did manage to get the GoPro underwater. I think I got a very brief shot. And I'm just taking a moment to let it all soak in. It's been an emotional day. Everyone's spirits have been absolutely lifted following 3 days on the Drake Passage to then have this. And it's just wall-to-wall sunshine, and it's bliss.
From here, we continued southwest along the peninsula, through the jaw-droppingly beautiful LeMaire Channel, and into Salpetriere Bay.
Good morning from the beautiful LeMaire Channel. We had an earlier wake-up call today from the expedition team at 6:45. The alarms went off. Good morning, good morning. You're in the LeMaire Channel. Get outside as the sun's coming up. We've had a dusting of snow on the deck. There's ice everywhere. And we're treated to some of the most spectacular views I have ever seen. So the LeMaire Channel itself is only about 6.6 miles long, 600 meters wide at its narrowest. It's about 150 meters deep. And it is the gateway to the southern end of the Antarctic Peninsula. And the mountains on either side can be as tall as 1,000 meters. The cloud is kind of covering most of them. Holy moly. Let's get a load of this, the scale of this place. Absolutely amazing. It's jaw-dropping really. Trying to get the angle to see how high the mountains go up behind us. They're just this sheer scale of erupting out of the water. The channel itself is named after a Belgian explorer from the 1800s, Charles LeMaire. But here's the catch, he never actually came down here. He spent the 1800s exploring the Congo. It was Adrien de Gerlache that came down here in 1898 and named it after him. And there's humpback whales. I've just seen 2 blows, 2 backs, and they're cruising through. We've just got through the narrowest bit. And there she goes.
With penguins and humpbacks all around us, it was time to get into the zodiacs.
Some humpbacks just ahead of us. The sound. Jet 2 penguins jump now onto this iceberg behind us. Everywhere you look, there's humpbacks, there's penguins. It's absolute marine chaos.
Gentoos are kind of right under the zodiac.
Hear all the humpback blows in the distance too. Just must be a bountiful of krill all in this strait.
Gentoos are the speed demons of the penguin world, using their powerful flippers to swim at speeds of up to 22 miles an hour. And then, after a good 45 minutes marvelling at the beauty of icebergs, we came across Antarctica's second most formidable predator once again.
We're just chilling out in Salpetriere Bay. We have a young leopard seal hauled out on an ice square.
we spent 10 incredible minutes in the company of this younger leopard seal, before leaving it to carry on snoozing as we started heading through the snow and back to the Plantius. Later that afternoon, we headed out into deeper water, past some enormous tabular icebergs, and then, under the cover of darkness, we crossed the Antarctic Circle, ready for a morning adventure on Detaille Island.
So at the bottom end of Detaille Island, and in this little cove, we've got about 10 crab-eater seals all hauled out. These crab-eaters are the most numerous seal down here in Antarctica. So despite their name, crab-eater seals don't actually eat crabs. They have these really specialised teeth with all these grooves and ridges that enable them to filter out krill from the seawater. But if I tilt slightly over here, there we are. There's a few other different seals that we have here in the distance. That top dot there is an Antarctic fur seal. He came out of the water and then woke up that Weddell seal, which is just tucked down there on the right-hand side. Magic. So, very happy. 3 species of seal in one go. The seals have been a bit few and far between at the start of this trip, to be honest, but they've certainly made up for it this morning, and we got 3 species all chilling out, taking a snooze in this place below the Antarctic Circle. Absolutely breathtaking. So this hut on Detaille Island was used by a British team between 1956 and 1959, and it's still perfectly intact. In a second, I'm going to go inside and take a look. But they had to abandon this hut due to the increasing sea ice, and they had to make a 25-mile run for it across the ice as it was moving to get back to their ship, so they didn't have to spend a winter down here. Can you imagine having to try and do that? To get to your ship, somewhere out there, across 25 miles of sea ice. Nuts. Walking through here as I stepped back in time.
Old newspapers here in the breakout room. Date is October the 30th, 1958. You see that old library, collection of books, bookcases. Oh, even the old sleeping bags almost bumped here as well.
Coming to the kitchen here, you can see the remains of all the old tins that they had. A lot of custard, pickles, HB sauce, very important. Got all the pots and pans, mugs,
All different cooking appliances on the shelves here. It's very dark.
Then here you can see some of the old bunks that they would have been using. 2 to a bunk, or some of the old blankets are all in touch with the old pillowcases and duvets.
Just imagine what it would have been like with the Antarctic winter winds pounding against the wooden doors here. An unbelievable time capsule. Very, very cool. Back in the Zodiacs, we did a loop around the island, meeting some very friendly fluke-waving humpbacks, some boisterous Antarctic fur seals, and the most dapper bird below the Antarctic Circle, the Adelie penguin. By this point though, it was time to turn around and head back north, crossing the polar circle once more in preparation for yet another wildlife-filled day.
Okay guys, good morning. Welcome to Brown Station. When you get in, you can leave your life jackets on. You have 1 hour here, so back at 9:45.
This is a pretty special moment. We've done quite a few Zodiac landings already on this trip, but this is the first time we've actually landed on the mainland of the continent itself. We are very much
On the Antarctic Peninsula, on the actual landmass.
It's quite a lot of low-lying cloud. Oh, the snow's quite deep. I'm gonna go check out the base itself, see some of the Gentoo penguins, and then head up the hill. Whew, through the 1 meter deep snow. That's gonna be a challenge. This is the Brown base. It's still used in the summer. It's a summer station, but the teams here all left a few weeks ago, and there's just the last remaining Gentoo penguins that are just hanging around. So let's go have a look. Here's me and my mates. Some of them are still in that catastrophic molt, but it won't be long before all of these penguins are heading offshore.
That afternoon, we set out to cruise through the Gerlache Strait, stretching for nearly 124 miles between the Palmer Archipelago and the Danko coast. This strait is a vast Antarctic waterway, and it also happens to be one of the best places to spot icebergs and whales near the Antarctic Peninsula.
We are currently in the Gerlache Strait, and it is humpback soup. Everywhere you look, there's blows coming up, there's backs, there's flukes. Honestly, we're probably in triple figures now. I've lost count of how many humpbacks we've seen in the past hour alone. You can see there blows all over the horizon, catching the light. And we have one individual sort of head slapping as he came up, sort of half breach, and he came up a few times right in the sun, smashing his body against the water.
But things were about to ramp up a gear, as on the horizon, Antarctica's apex predators were on their way to meet us.
Well, the Gerlache Strait has well and truly delivered. We just had an unbelievable encounter with Type B Orca. They were all around the boat. I mean, I spotted them from the bridge with one of the guides. We've been watching them for ages before we called them out on the tannoy. We saw them right in the distance. We could just see splashes because they were coming towards us. And then one turned and we saw that big characteristic black fin of a male. And then before we knew it, they were all around the bow. Now, these are Type B Orca that you get down here in the Antarctic, and their skin is a bit of a browny colour. Now, this is due to all the diatoms, a type of algae that's in the water and sticks to their skin. We had them around the boat for about 20 minutes or so. A few jumps, a few spy hops. There was loads of small calves, a couple of big males. I've never seen that number of orca all in one go before. And then they sort of all circled around. There was a few humpbacks in the area, and some Antarctic fur seals didn't seem all too happy and were very much glad to be on their ice floes. My heart is absolutely pounding. What an unbelievable encounter. I've been wanting to see orca the entire time we've been down here. And on our last full day on the Antarctic Peninsula, it happened. We're heading to the South Shetlands tomorrow, so we're slowly making our way back north. But after a lot of scanning, a lot of hoping, a lot of praying to the orca gods, they turned up, and oh boy did they turn up, and we had them everywhere. Can't quite believe what I've watched, to be honest. That was truly breathtaking, and I'm one very, very happy man.
Well, the orca are certainly going to be hard to top, but our Antarctic adventure isn't quite over yet.
It's a nice early start today. The sun hasn't come up yet, but we have arrived in the South Shetland Islands. Behind me is Deception Island, and in a few moments' time, we're going to be passing through the Bellows and into the protected bay.
Deception Island is one of the few places in the world where ships can sail into a volcanic caldera, which is a horseshoe-shaped area that's been created by a collapsed volcano. And this fascinating island was to be the setting for our final and most refreshing landing. A quick warning, the swim shorts will be coming out soon. But first, let's take a trip into Antarctica's darker history.
Welcome to Whalers Bay.
So up and down the beach here, there's the remains of old water boats that the whalers would have filled with ice and snow to collect fresh water. And just hidden and nestled amongst some of the debris are a few Antarctic fur seals. They're just having a snooze, chilling out here. They're pretty unbothered by us. There's quite a few more playing around in the shallows. Quite comical, very fun to watch. And there's a few more further up the beach in the snow, rolling around, just looking like playing around like dogs, really. I often think the fur seals is like a mermaid pup. A very nice welcome to Deception Island. So this Norwegian whaling station was occupied between 1906 to 1931. Initially, the factory ships were just coming to the bay here and were moored up. But then in 1912, a more permanent shore station was created. For a time, there was a British base down here at Deception, but in 1967, a volcanic eruption destroyed it. And since then, it has been abandoned, and all the history here remains on view. And it is a bit of an eerie maritime ghost town. And then these great big things are all the old ovens that the whalers would have used to melt down all of that blubber into oil. It's hard to imagine that in 1 year, 5,000 whales were killed and melted down into oil right behind me. These are the old oil drums that the whalers would have kept all of the oil in once they'd burnt all the blubber down. The sheer size of them is, well, harrowing, I think. It's a very sobering morning, if I'm honest. I'm just trying to get my head around what it would have been like down here at the start of the 20th century.
History lesson over, it was time to return to the Plantius. There was just one thing we had to do first.
Polar plunge. This is going to suck. Right, here we go. Polar plunge.
Antarctica has a way of getting under your skin, and it has completely floored me. This wasn't just a journey to the end of the map, it was a step beyond the ice, into the most jaw-droppingly beautiful place I've ever seen. I found staggering beauty, surreal silence, and a kind of clarity I didn't know I was missing, where nature is at its most raw, wild, and unfiltered. It's humbling, and it's left a mark I won't shake anytime soon. I went looking for an adventure, but what I found was something far deeper. Antarctica, you've ruined me for the ordinary.
Look at the state of these mountains. Crikey. It's not a big hill, but I tell you what, with all these layers and these great big boots and this big, thick bit of snow, I'm living exhausted already.
This was my first encounter with the White Continent, and I already know it won't be the last.
Cheers, buddy.
I told you to be the one that I stacked.
Was that filming, please?
That's how you don't get on a Zodiac.
He called it. He said it'd be the one that he falls over on.